So now you may make your way to your mat. And find your way all the way to your back. So you'll just gently lower your spine all the way down. You're going to plant both of your feet on the ground and let your knees fall in towards each other. Let your palms come to rest on your belly. You can keep your gaze soft up towards the ceiling or gently close your eyes. And as you settle in here, start by just taking 3 nice calming breaths on your own. And if at any point during class you're having trouble hearing me, please just send a message in the chat. I'll say that again in case you couldn't hear me when I was laying on my back. If you're having trouble hearing me at all, especially while we're laying down, please just let me know. I haven't taught a virtual class in a few months, so I might be a little rusty with some of these aspects of the technology. But stay on your back, eyes soft or closed, palms are still resting on the belly. The breath is gently flowing in and out. And after those first few deep breaths, just let your breath naturally flow and start to bring some relaxation into your eyebrows, into your eyelids, into your jaw and your shoulders. And we'll spend about a minute here just in quiet, kind of arriving into our shared virtual space and into your own space. And throughout class today, I'm going to be inviting you to notice edges. And the idea of edges can be however you'd like to interpret it. But personally, I've been thinking about edges in some different ways. In nature, we see a lot of edges where one environment meets another, and it's kind of the place where the most life and biodiversity exists. And in my own life, I think of edges as kind of a learning space, maybe the edge of my comfort zone. I think of stepping into a new space, a new learning. And so let this idea of edges kind of sink into your being. And we'll start as you continue to lay on your back, allowing the earth to support you. Starting at the top of your head, you'll just kind of visualize tracing the edges of your body really slowly. So maybe you'll imagine like a bright light or a pencil line or something, moving around your face, tracing the edges of your chin, your neck, shoulders, both sides all the way down. And then notice the edges where your body meets the mat, the edges of your skin meeting the air around you. Maybe you don't feel anything in your body when you imagine these edges, but we're just bringing some awareness to the kind of magic that can exist in these in-between spaces where things are meeting. So our body, our spine is meeting the mat. Our hands maybe are meeting each other on our belly. Our feet are meeting the mat. And then as you breathe, start to tune in to the edges of your breath. So let's take a nice deep inhale all together. And feel the edge of your inhale. Maybe take another small sip of air, pushing that edge. And then exhale all the way out until you reach the edge of your exhale. And then maybe push that edge a little bit, pushing it out a little more. And then we're going to start to straighten our left leg to the left corner of your mat. Straighten your right leg to the right corner of your mat. Straighten your left arm up towards the left upper corner of your mat. And then your right arm to the right corner. So you're kind of making a star shape with your body. And just start to really gently point the toes forward so you're lengthening the tops of your feet, which also will lengthen your legs, creating a line of energy from your hips all the way down through your toes. And then stretch those fingertips more further back behind you. So you're becoming as long of a star as you can get. And feel the edges there where your body can't really stretch anymore. And take a deep inhale. And then exhale, you're going to find the opposite shape. You're going to curl your left knee in, curl your right knee in, wrap your arms around your legs, and find yourself in a tight little ball here. And you can keep your head on the mat, or you can curl it up, making yourself even tinier. And we're going to move through that a few more times, noticing those edges, those points of being at the edge of something in your body. We're going to open up like a flower blooming. Spread those legs, spread those arms, find that star. Point the toes, reach the fingertips, feeling alive, feeling the edge of your fingers reaching, feeling the edge of your toes pointing. Nice deep breath in, exhale, curl yourself all the way up like you're going into hibernation, flowers closing up. And then take that about 3 more times on your own, making sure not to rush in and out. So really like feel like you're a flower expanding, which takes a while for a flower to bloom all the way. And just 3 rounds of that, and we'll end curled up in our third ball. And then once you find yourself curled up in this tight, snug little ball, you're going to take some rocks along the spine, side to side, and see where the edges are here. There's, for me, a very clear edge of my rocks side to side, where if I rocked a little bit too far to the left, I might fall over. And if I rock a little too far to the right, I might fall over there. So maybe explore that a little bit. If you do fall over, that's okay. Like, you'll just land on your side. So rock side to side, feel that edge, maybe balance there for a moment on each side. Get a little playful. And then we'll start to rock forward and back along the spine. So we're slowly making our way up to a seat, but you can take a few rocks before you get there. And then eventually, once you're ready, you can rock all the way up to a seat. And you can take any kind of seat that works for you. So you're welcome to sit in a chair or sit with your legs outstretched or cross-legged. And we'll just allow the eyes to close or the gaze to be soft here. Let's bring our palms to meet on our belly once more, just as we did laying down. And on your own, take 3 breaths to settle into this seat. And again, notice the edges of your inhales and your exhales. Maybe challenging those edges a little bit by taking an extra sip of air or pushing an extra sip of air out. Feel your shoulders rest down away from your earlobes. You can gently start to peel your palms off of your belly, and just letting them rest on your legs. And we'll slowly make our way to a tabletop, planting the palms and the knees down. So we're going to be mindful, not just in the exercises that we do, but in the time it takes to move from one to the other. And sometimes that's challenging, and I have to remind myself about that in between space. Getting from one place to the next is not just to get there, but there's a lot to discover in the in between. So notice that as we move through class today. We're going to spread all 10 fingers nice and wide. Plant the tops of the feet down. You're going to position your shoulders just about above your wrists. And your hips just about above your knees. It's okay if it's not exactly so. Now we're going to start to take some gentle movements along the spine. So you can start with a cow pose, gazing up towards the ceiling and lifting the tailbone up as well. And then for your exhale, you can make your way into a cat pose, reaching the back of the heart up towards the ceiling and feeling that edge in your cat pose, leaning into it a little bit more. And then inhale, continue flowing through a few more of these on your own. Perhaps closing your eyes, tuning into what feels really nice and soothing along your spine and along your shoulders, your hips. And then if you find something that feels really good, maybe do more of that. So you can do some little hip movements side to side, some shoulder movements. You definitely don't have to stick with the cat-cow, but you're welcome to. You can release the head as you roll down into your cat and just let it feel kind of weightless. Maybe open the mouth and let it hang. We'll take a few moments of silence to just be in our own experience. And then slowly we'll transition back to our tabletop as we started. And remain in your tabletop for a nice deep inhale. And this time open your mouth as you exhale and just let all of that air flow out. And then push a little bit more out on your exhale. We're going to curl the toes under so your toes are touching the mat. And we're not going to do much downward dog in this class at all, but we will just do a couple right here. So you'll start to push into your toes. Shift your hips up and back. And it's okay if you're wearing socks like me. We won't be in this for very long. We're going to inhale to a tabletop where we just were, lower the knees. And then exhale, we're going to sink back into a child's pose. So you'll bring the toes together. You'll widen out the knees. And you'll sink your hips back. Let your forehead come to the mat and take a full round of breath here. Inhale. Exhale, melt down into your mat. Inhale, we'll reverse that. So slowly rise back to tabletop. Exhale, downward dog, rise the hips up. Inhale, shift forward to tabletop, lower the knees. Exhale, child's pose. So we'll do one more together. Take a full round of breath in your child's pose. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, child's pose. Full inhale, full exhale. And then move through 2 rounds of that on your own, ending in a child's pose. Take your time, 1 breath for each movement. And then no rush at all, but once you find your way to your child's pose, you can let your arms move by your sides this time. And your forehead meets the mat. If you have any pillows around you, this is also a nice opportunity. I forgot to mention in the beginning that you could use a pillow, but you could place a pillow under your seat for a little extra propping up, support of the hips, or you could place a pillow under your forehead or under your chest. So you could play around with that if you have a pillow nearby. If not, you can just find your child's pose. Reconnecting with the earth here as we find ourselves really low to the ground. And feel the edges, the space in between your body and the mat. And as you breathe out, see if you can feel yourself kind of sinking into those edges a little bit more. And if you have any pillows underneath you, you can start to move them away. And we'll start to rise back up through tabletop, downward dog, and then right away start to walk the feet towards the hands. So you'll take a few steps, your feet meet your hands, and walk your feet a little bit out from each other. So they're about the distance of your hips apart. And then we'll just hang here briefly. So maybe you shake the arms out a little bit. Maybe you shake the head out a little bit. Maybe you just exhale and feel your arms kind of get heavy and pull you down. Notice here if you're clenching in your jaw. See if you can pull your teeth away from each other and just relax the jaw. I know I tend to clench my jaw a lot when I don't even realize. And nice and slow, we're gonna roll up through the spine to stand, but try to move a little bit slower than you might be inclined to. Once you find yourself standing, just as we did laying down and sitting, we'll bring our palms to connect with our bellies here. And maybe just rub your hands a little bit in a circle, sending some warmth. And then let your hands be still. You can soften or close your eyes. And in your own way, take 3 slow breaths, bringing yourself into this standing shape, mountain pose. And then we'll slowly release the hands, let them rest by your side. And we're gonna do a little bit of movement here, guided by our shoulders, one shoulder at a time. So bring your attention to your shoulders first of all. And see if you can just acknowledge however they feel right now. Maybe they're tensed up, maybe they're not. Maybe one shoulder feels different than the other. That's okay. And we're going to start with our right shoulder. And you can do this with me or you can watch the first round. I might be opposite you. I can't remember how it works on Zoom, but just keep it in mind for yourself. You're doing your right shoulder. And so we're slowly going to start to move our right shoulder over towards the left and relax your arm. So if your arm is like positioned back, just let it kind of hang, be loose. And you're slowly going to drop that right shoulder down. And the same with your left arm, it should be loose and relaxed. And then you're slowly going to rotate across the bottom. Right shoulder is still guiding. And then it brings you back up to stand. So we'll do that again. Right shoulder comes across the body, dropping you down. So your right fingertips are coming towards your toes. You're rotating across the bottom towards your right. And then actually your left shoulder is actually guiding you back up. So you're using both shoulders here. Let's do one more like that on your own. If you got the hang of it, you can also watch me. And try to slow this down to maybe a little bit slower than you're inclined to at first. Once you complete that, let yourself come to stand. Take a nice big roll of the shoulders up by your ears. Relax them down your back. Deep breath in and let it out. We'll do the opposite now. So we'll let the left shoulder rotating the torso towards the right. So our left shoulder is guiding us down, dropping down, rotating gently towards the left. And then our right shoulder is guiding us back up. Roll right into the next one. Left shoulder guiding us slowly down. Rotating across. And then right shoulder guides us back up. And then next one is on your own, maybe closing your eyes. Beautiful. Take your time, and once you finish that, you can take a roll of the shoulders to kind of recenter and just find yourself standing still. We'll take a breath together, inhaling, sweeping the arms up overhead. And then exhale, let your palms come to touch, dragging that down to the center of your heart. And then inhale, rise the palms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, separate the arms, let them come to rest by your side. So we're going to spend the next couple of minutes doing a little bit of a walking meditation around the edges of our mat. So you can start by bringing your attention to your feet and maybe just like playing around with your feet a little bit, lifting your heels up, lifting your toes up, shifting your weight around, noticing how that feels. rolling the ankles. And then we're going to explore the edges of our mat. So you can either be inside of your mat on the edge or right outside of your mat on the edge. And let's all start, it doesn't matter what corner of your mat you start at. We'll start with both of our feet together, and we'll just really slowly start by shifting our weight into our left leg, lifting your right foot up and placing it slowly down in front of your left. And as soon as your toes of your right foot hit the ground, start to lift your heel of your left foot up, placing it directly in front of your right. Maybe not directly, it's hard to balance that way, but as soon as your left toes hit the mat, start to peel your right heel off. And then repeating this, and obviously turning once you hit the corner of your mat. We'll be moving in a rectangle. And notice if you start to speed up, naturally that might happen. I just noticed myself speeding up. So if you do, maybe just gently remind yourself that you can move slowly. And you are welcome to close your eyes and maybe test your balance a little bit if you'd like. I remember doing this once before where we visualized a flower growing where our heel pops up off the mat, and thought that was pretty sweet. So you could imagine something like that if you'd like to, guiding each step. Eventually your mat turning into a big flower garden. And I'll leave the next 30 to 40 seconds just for quiet, meditative walking, noticing your feet, the times that you might speed up. And I'll call us back together to pause when it's time. So you can continue your walking meditation until you meet the next edge of your mat, the next corner of your mat, I should say. And once you find that next corner, you can pause and just make your way back to the center. Plant your feet hips width distance. We'll take an inhale and sweep the arms nice and wide overhead. Exhale, palms come to touch gently and drag down to the center of the chest. Inhale, rise the palms up. And then exhale, as you spread the arms wide, we're just gonna sweep all the way down so your upper body will follow into a forward fold. And then we'll start to lower the seat, plant the palms. You're gonna slowly transition your way to a seated position. Again, whatever works for you. You can use pillows, you can use a chair. Get yourself comfortable. You can do any adjusting or fidgeting that you might feel the urge to do before we settle in. And you can, as you're ready, once you get your fidgets out, you can let your palms come to rest on your knees. Relax your shoulders. Gently pull the heart forward. And close your eyes if that feels okay for you, or you can just keep your gaze soft. And while we're sitting here, you're also welcome to just stay sitting here. But if you feel inclined, I will talk you through exploring the edges of your face. So we'll gently lift our palms up off of our knees and bring all of your fingers to the top of your forehead. So like your hairline. And you can use 4 fingers on each hand, or you can just use 1 finger on each hand, whatever you'd like. And you're slowly just gonna trace down on each side, the edges of your face. So once you hit your ears, you can come back behind your ears. You're kind of following your hairline to the back of your neck. And then you can reverse and come back the other way. But maybe this time coming down on the other side of your ears and tracing your chin. Nice and slowly continuing this on your own. Sending some attention and love for that special, beautiful face of yours. And if you want, you can even let your fingers trace down the center of your face and around your nose, around your mouth. Let your fingers just kind of wander the edges. And then as you're ready, you can start to relax those hands down back to your knees. And let's take a breath all together, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Notice if you were just exploring the edges of your face, what you feel in those spots now. Maybe there's just a little bit of extra energy or aliveness. And we're going to slowly let our head drop over to the right side. And you're welcome to just stay here and find a little bit of a neck stretch. Or you can bring your right hand over to the left side of your neck and your left shoulder, and just find a little bit of touch and self-massage here, kind of like putting some pressure, gentle pressure into the shoulder and the left side of the neck. Be exploring the back and the front of this side of your neck. Remembering to continue your breaths. And then just let your hand rest here, pausing the massage, but continuing with the contact of your right hand on your left, either shoulder or neck or somewhere in between. Take a couple of breaths here. And then slowly let gravity just kind of take your right hand down and bring it to your right leg, and then change the direction of your head. So your head will slowly fall off to the left. And then we'll bring our left hand up towards that right side of the neck. And again, find some gentle touch and massage all along the right side of your neck and your shoulder, exploring behind the shoulder a little bit, in front of the shoulder a little bit. Noticing what's there, making sure not to push in any ways that are painful edges for you, but should feel good. And then let the left hand just kind of rest on the shoulder. Head is still falling off towards the left. Take a couple of breaths here. And then start to release the grip of your shoulder and just let gravity pull your arm down. Hand comes to rest on the left knee. And before we come all the way to our backs, let's just stretch our legs out. If you're sitting cross-legged, stretch your legs out for a moment and just wiggle them, bending the knees, moving some energy around the legs. And then in your own way and on your own time, you're going to make your way onto your back. And so we're going to do some legs up the wall. You don't need to go to a wall. If you want to, you can. But we're just going to elevate our legs up towards the ceiling. Your legs do not have to be straight by any means. You can bend your knees as much as you'd like, but the point is that your feet are above your head. Relax your shoulders. Feel your face widen. We'll rest here for about a minute, just in some quiet space. And if you need to adjust, you're more than welcome to. I'll let you know and we'll lower the legs. Slowly you can start to bend the knees deeper, hugging the knees in towards your chest. And as we did in the beginning, you can wrap your arms around. Take some gentle rocks side to side along the spine. And again, exploring the edges as you rock. So as you find yourself off to the left, finding the edge where you're almost about to fall over, but you don't quite fall over. And then finding that on the right side too. And then finding that again on the left. But this time, you're gonna let yourself actually fall all the way over. And then we're gonna open up into a twist. So your arms will spread out to a T shape and your knees are falling off to the left or the right, doesn't matter which side you start on, and then you'll let your head kind of fall off to the opposite side from your legs. Let your breaths here be nice and long, relaxing into this twist. And then as you're ready, you can start to roll back up towards the center, hug the knees in, and whichever side you did just now, you'll do the opposite. So find that opposite edge and then let yourself just surrender to it, falling all the way over. And then spreading the arms out to a T, letting the head fall off to the left. Stay here, continue to breathe nice and deep. And then eventually you can start to pull your knees back up towards the center. Squeeze them in towards your chest one extra time. Taking a nice big squeeze. And then slowly release that, extending the legs along the mat. Letting your arms come to rest by your sides, or you're welcome to make contact with your body in some way. First, just start to settle into how it feels to be laying down. And then as we did in the beginning, starting at the top of your forehead, trace the edges of your body all the way down to the tips of your toes. You can visualize this as some kind of pencil or pen or a light, bringing awareness to all that can grow and flourish in these edge spaces. And then you'll let that kind of just take you into your final rest. Letting yourself be still and quiet for the next couple of minutes. As you rest here, I have a poem to share with you that is called The Edges of Time by Kay Ryan. It is at the edges that time thins. Time which had been dense and vicious as amber suspending intentions like bees unseizes them. A humming begins, apparently coming from stacks of put off things or just in back. A racket of claims now as time flattens. A glittering fan of things competing to happen, brilliant and urgent as fish when seas retreat. The edges of time. And start to breathe a little bit deeper. With some more awareness to the edges of your breath. And then you can slowly start to bring some gentle movement into your fingers and your toes, your ankles and your wrists. And then eventually hugging your knees in towards your chest. And rolling all the way off to one side. Resting there for a moment. And then keeping the eyes closed or the gaze soft, start to rise yourself all the way back up to a seat. Once you find yourself in your seat, you'll rest your palms face down on your legs. Relax the shoulders down your back. Feel your spine lengthen a little bit extra. And we'll close with 3 deep breaths together. So we'll start by exhaling everything out. And then taking a nice deep inhale through the nose. Pausing at the top. And then exhale through the mouth. At the bottom of your exhale, start to inhale all the way. Pausing at the top. And then let it out with a sigh this time. At the bottom of your sigh, start to inhale through the nose one more time. And then your longest exhale yet. Continuing to exhale. Pausing at the bottom. And then letting your breath flow. If you'd like to, you may bring your palms to meet at the center of your chest, bowing your chin in towards your fingertips. Thanking yourself for showing up today, for mindfully moving through this space together. It was wonderful to share this experience with you. And may it continue to nourish you throughout your day.